Kira for being a performer, for being someone who's creative, for being a bit of a mastikhor. I think Kira was there for all of those things. But whether it was for being an actor or not, I think that was more of something that I understood over time. It's when I did acting workshops that I really understood what it means to be an actor and what the process of acting is all about. And yeah, that's when I fell in love. Yeah, a lot. Like, I was definitely that person whose hand was raised first anytime there was any form of competition, everything other than singing. You know, that's interesting actually, because most people say that, oh, that's the world you've grown up around and things like that. But when I was around, sets or acting or, all of those things, I was too young to understand anything absolutely at all. But when I got older, when I was in school, the idea of being an actor was reserved to people who are sort of unintelligent, unfortunately. That was the idea or the conception that, oh, why do you need to study, or why do you care about this test, or why do you care about anything? You're going to just be an actor. And I hated that. I hated the idea that I would be boxed up into something, that I knew that I had the capabilities to do a lot of things, and that I had the sort of ability to, give myself the opportunity to do anything that I wanted to do. And I hated anyone else sort of putting that, that obligation on me that this is what's meant for you. So, unfortunately, like a rebel without the cause, I moved really away from it, and I said, I'm not going to do this. So I studied in business and marketing, which I'm very happy about, and my degree will always be of absolute use to me, and I still do apply it every single day. And the best experiences as a human being of growing up come from those experiences. But it's also the fact that I wasn't very happy working in the experiences that I was. I had a bunch of corporate jobs. I was sort of interning since I was 16 in different areas to try and figure out what I wanted to do. And during that time period, I was sort of having this conversation at home with my brother saying, kind of unhappy, I don't know what I'm doing, and as any 20-something is. And that's when my brother told me, he's like, you know what, why don't you just try out some of these acting workshops? And you don't have to become an actor. That's not what they're necessarily about. They're about sort of expanding your perspective, getting a better idea about yourself, learning about humans and human emotions and all of those different things. And just get a change in perspective, get a change in your sort of scenario for a bit. And so I said, okay, no harm in that. And I fell in love. I fell in love with the process. I was like, wow, so this is what acting is really all about, and this is what you get to do. And then it sort of started coming back to me that even when I was a kid, I would always be this person who would watch movies and I would watch shows, and whatever that person was in that movie, I wanted to be. So for 3 months, I wanted to be a spy. For 4 months, I wanted to be an RJ. Then I would want to be a doctor, lawyer, whatever I watched, I wanted to be that. And that's kind of what acting really is. It's sort of an insight into somebody else's life, just for a bit. I don't have any specific mentor per se. I just don't. But I have a lot of great acting coaches. There's Atul Mongia, Rachit Singh, Hemant Kher, Suraj Vyas, and a bunch of more that just taught me so much along the way, taught me a lot of different sort of schools of acting, and just gave me a lot of guidance into also understanding myself better, because there are limitations that you put on yourself. There's influences from all your experiences that shape who you are. But sometimes they can dim your light. they can make you question yourself. And all of these people at different times in my life have guided me to believe in myself and believe in my ability. Also lucky for me, the fact that I have my brother and my mother working in the same field. They have their own experiences to share from. They have so much of their own knowledge that they can share with me. But it's also very important to understand that all of this is my own journey, and I really have to figure it out for myself. So I think when we were discussing whether, okay, when I did the audition and I got the call back saying, okay, you're Rhea for us and all of those things, as excited as I was, I had a very frank conversation with mom saying, okay, so this is the character and this is the script and this is what we're looking at. What are your thoughts? And so we had this whole conversation about, okay, let's do pros and cons. We love doing pros and cons at home. So we did sort of a pros and cons into understanding this, because obviously it's a very challenging role. There's so much to it. There's also sort of public perception and things like that. But when we came to the pros, it was the idea that the character is just such an interesting combination. It's such a meaty role of like complex, but also someone a lot of people can relate to. You can feel and see the pain that she's been through, but it's shaped her and guided her in this not particularly nice way. So we were sort of discussing that as an actor, these are the kind of roles you hope to get in your whole career. You hope you'll get this 2-3 times. And the fact that I got it as my first was just luck. And a lot of hard work, but also the idea that to have this as my first as an experience would be incredible, and that I had to really be ready to take on the challenge, that if I was sure about it, that I should definitely go for it. And what she told me before I was on set was simply this, that no one should ever complain that they don't think you work hard enough. You should always be putting your 100%, because the results are never really on you, because it's a collaborative process, and there's so many elements to it, and you never know how the audience feels about it. But at the end of the day, and this is what she said to me all my life for everything, is that you do your job well. That's all you're supposed to do, and that's all you can do. So yeah, that was essentially the advice. And from my brother, it was essentially, go have fun. Just have fun and you'll be fine. If you have fun, it'll translate on screen, which is what I did. I mean, there's so many. For me, someone that I've adored forever is Tabu. I think she's so sort of natural, obviously, but there's this sort of magnetism to her. Every time you see her, no matter what her role is, you just want to see how and why and what she's kind of doing with it. There's always something beautifully unexpected in her rhythm, which I love watching. When you look at sort of my contemporaries today, you have obviously somebody like an Alia, who is just incredibly talented, who has this, again, there's a certain charm about her, which I love sort of seeing on screen. I think Sania Malhotra is fabulous. I think there's a lot more that I want to see from her, and again, she's very watchable. So these are some of the people that I really look up to, and I think are doing some fabulous work. So, I mean, definitely when you look at the story, she is the antagonist. But for me, when we read Rhea in readings, or when I read the script myself, in her life, in her own version of it, she was a bit of an anti-hero, right? Because she was trying to be the hero of her own story. And beautifully in season 1, She was scripted to have all of those things. As an audience, you could see all of that. And that's what really excited me, is that it's not like, oh, she's a bad girl. That's not it. There's so many sort of layers and nuances to this. And there's so much to sort of play with, which is what really excited me as an actor more than anything else. And the idea that if I could translate that, translate the ability that, look, there's this girl who's been through so much in her life, and there's so many things that have affected her, and this is what she's trying to achieve. You may not like what she's doing and you may not agree with her, but somewhere, maybe just a little bit, you sympathize with her. I thought that would be able to win me over as an actor, which would be able to show my talent or show my abilities as an actor over anything else. So it wasn't like a conscious decision before I auditioned for Mithya that, okay, I want to do an antagonist, or I want to do something that's completely out of the realm. It wasn't that, but it was always the idea that I want to do something that will allow me to leave my mark in the very first sort of project, because there's so much content that you're watching today. There's so many beautiful actors. It's a hard sort of industry to be a part of. So if I want to come and make my mark and I want to do something substantial, I had to be working in a project that I saw that the ability for that to happen. So yeah. मैं घर में ही इतनी diva हूँ. I'm kidding. So no, I think it's the fact that they understand more than ever, and I appreciate the idea that for us being a house of actors, that's an exciting bit, and sure, you look lovely and you get to do all of that, but it's also not necessarily the goal. It's not that you're ever put down saying, oh, but you don't look like Shania from Soti. That's never the idea. The idea is that whether is this interesting work, is this people you want to work with, is the character interesting, is the story interesting? As an actor, do you feel satisfied with what you're doing? Did you have a good time on set? Mama's first questions would be, खाना ठीक से खा रही है, टाइम से खा रही है, सो रही है, पानी नहीं पी रही है, इसलिए ये सब हो रहा है. Those are the conversations that really happen. So luckily there isn't really an expectation of that. I think everyone would be excited to see me in that avatar, but they are also equally excited to see me in this avatar because it's sort of unexpected. It's because I'm not necessarily either of those people in real life. So anything that I am currently on screen so far is very removed and very far away from who I am as a person, or how I dress up, or how I look normally. So I think that's the exciting bit. I can go either which way, and they're hopefully looking forward to seeing me. Yeah, it is a very early part to ask this, but so I think it's a combination of things. One is that I'm raw, I'm really new, so I like to believe myself as clay that needs to be molded constantly, and a director's job is to mold me as per whatever he or she sees this character to be, which is, I think that's where there's something beautiful that comes out of it. But also it is a very collaborative process, right? Because the way I understand Rhea or any other character that I play, I would have to bring those nuances into that character and what I see her as. And so I think that if I can convince a director that, look, this is what I feel and this is what I think, what do you think? And then there's a collaboration that happens where we meet somewhere in the middle. I think that's a very interesting thing. But there are also some calls that you completely just leave on the director, going, look, he or she knows what they're doing. I'm new, I don't. Let me just listen to them. Also because they see the bigger picture. They know every little aspect of what's going on. You are just a part within the story. So there's a bit of mix of both, I think. So during season 1, Param and Huma were just such a guiding force for me because obviously, like you said, both of them have an incredible body of work. They've done so much within their careers, and me as a newcomer, I had like 15 questions, you know, like little bit of excitement, little bit of nervous energy, you know, all of those things going around. And they were really guys who just calmed me down, who just made me feel at ease, who made me feel really comfortable, you know. They never made me feel like you don't know what you're doing, and actually they did, but in a fun way, in a more like a bullying and a, you know, in a way where I got to learn from them, but it was in the way of having a lot of fun, honestly. Like they were just fabulous co-actors, especially for someone who's doing their first project. It was a boon to be able to work with both of them, honestly. I mean, not specifically, honestly, for me. You're a young actor, you're just hungry for work, and you're excited to do as much and as many interesting things as you possibly can. The idea was to obviously sort of widen my horizons, not give myself any sort of limitation, whether it's OTT, the big screen, languages, whatever it is. I think all of them are mediums for me to learn at this point of time, and also spaces where I can make my mark in different ways. And essentially that's sort of the thought process behind it. There's very little I can unfortunately talk about this project because it's been announced, but I don't know when it's coming out. I don't know anything more that I'm allowed to say about this. The only thing I think I can say is that I'm really excited because when you look at Rhea, there's this sort of brat antagonist, you know, this sort of deliciously wicked girl who's causing havoc, while the character that I play in Ingalyome is the opposite, the actual opposite of her. She is this ladki from the gully of Lucknow. So I think there's this completely different space in both of them that I'm getting to do, and I'm really excited for the audiences to see that, for directors to see that, and, you know, be able to hopefully be more versatile as an actor. But that's all I can speak about it right now. I mean, directors I want to work with are lots. I mean, the list is really endless and it just keeps growing. But I love Imtiaz Ali. I think his storytelling is a very different world, especially his female characters. And I would love to be portrayed by Imtiaz Ali. I think Shiv Raval, who's doing some incredible work. I think Anurag Kashyap is, obviously everyone knows, I don't even need to say more. Zoya Akhtar is somebody that I think is really, really good. Arjun Singh, who just did Kho Gaye Hum Kaha, I think he created a very interesting world, and he's a lovely person as well. So yeah, these are some people that I would be really excited to work with. Yeah, why not? I don't think the idea is that I want to do only intense work, or I want to do rom-coms, or I want to do comedy. I think as an actor, I want to do everything. And especially right now, where it's not like I have a whole body of work saying कि अच्छा लोगों ने सिर्फ ये देखा है, so I want to do something else. That's not the case. लोगों ने कुछ नहीं देखा है, you know. So I can do anything and everything, and I'm really excited. So I don't have that, oh, this is not, or this is. I think something like Call Me Way would be so much fun to work on. There's nothing that I'm doing currently other than promoting Mithya 2, so I'm really, really excited about that, and that's the first thing that the audiences can see me next in. And just sort of, it's exciting being back in Rhea's shoes.